people remember a lot of the good players who put in some good performances this year, lads. So I'm going to go on to the next topic and ask you to pick your Premier League best 11 of 2020, the team of 2020. Based on this calendar year, who are the 11 players who stood out in the Premier League? Maybe some tough selections here, Nick, because I'm thinking mostly Liverpool players will feature in this. But, I think there are a few key areas. I'm looking forward, looking to the forward position maybe. There's one spot open there what I'm not quite sure about. And through the spine of the team, really, a central midfielder and a centre-back. I'm not quite sure who plugs those gaps there, but maybe I'll kick this off and say I think we can all agree that Alisson was the standout goalkeeper in 2020, and then Trent Alexander-Arnold and Andrew Robertson were the standout fullbacks. Do we all agree with that on our team of 2020?
Yeah.
All right, that was easy. Virgil van Dijk, I'm going to go as one of the centre-backs. Andy, who's the other centre-back who plays alongside him? I'm struggling there because there's some good performances from Leicester players, from Tottenham players, but kind of spread out throughout the year, not as consistent as they could have been, right?
Yeah, not over the second half of last season and the first half of this season. I think you could put, if we're looking just at 2020/21, Toby Alderweireld has had a very nice resurgence of performances under Jose Mourinho, but very poor for the first part of 2020, as most of the Tottenham defense was. So it's very difficult. I think Aymeric Laporte would probably be the most talented and the most important player to his team at that position, but through injuries, not quite available enough. So, I'm gonna throw it to Nick. I'm gonna put Nick on the spot real quick to buy myself another second here, because it really is difficult. Because if you kind of look at the game now, it's all about the press. It's all about goal scoring now, and defending feels like it's kind of it's a lost art almost.
Yeah, it's really, really tricky. I would probably have to lean towards someone who was exceptional over the course of either Project Restart or the first part of 2020, because excuse me, I don't know that there is an absolute answer there. Obviously, I think Laporte might be the fallback option, but you look at some of the teams that were good in both Project Restart as well as the start of this season. Is there room for someone from Saints? Is there room for someone from, not at center back, from Manchester United? But these are things to consider. And Tottenham, you're right. Maybe it is Toby Alderweireld. I think that is a decent possibility.
I'm going to chuck out one which I think we should go with. Tyrone Mings. I think he was huge during Project Restart. And then he's been pretty good at the start of this season. And Villa have been much improved at the back. So I've got Connor Cody, Soyuncu, Laporte written down. But I'm going to say we should probably go with Mings throughout 2020 as a calendar year, because broke into the England team recently and he's kind of carried that form. We okay with that?
Yeah, and I'd also give a shout to James Tarkowski at Burnley based on the first half of the calendar year, maybe not so much the second half, the struggles that Burnley have had, but again, that just kind of highlights the issue with picking this one spot that we're having.
Definitely. So the back four is Trent Alexander-Arnold, Virgil van Dijk, Tyrone Mings, and Andy Robertson. Midfield three, we'll probably go with 4-3-3, right? That seems to be the general thing we do for teams like this. Kevin De Bruyne and Bruno Fernandes, for me, have been the two standout creative attacking midfielders, consistently doing it. And since Bruno Fernandes arrived at the start of 2020, Man United have been a whole different team. So, yeah, no complaints there, right, lads? De Bruyne and Bruno Fernandes in. And then, Nick, again, who's the other central midfielder there? We're looking at a Liverpool player here. Henderson, Wijnaldum, Fabinho, someone like that.
I like Fabinho, but I think the world's going to start on fire, especially in England, if we don't choose Henderson, and then we'll get yelled at. So we can take Henderson. I do want to throw a shout out, though, to two players that I just really like. Ndidi was phenomenal. Probably too many injuries to be in the side. And honestly, if we look at Project Restart, right? I mean, the top four was City, United, Saints, and Tottenham. And look at the table now. And Pep Guardiola did just call James Ward-Prowse the best free kick taker he's ever seen. So I really think there's discussion there, especially in this topsy-turvy, weird start to the season.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of love from JPW to JWP, I can tell you that much. But Andy, do you agree with Henderson there as kind of rounding out that midfield three?
Yeah, I think
Probably
on the
about right.
sentimentality of 2020, I think you probably end up with Henderson in there. But I think both of those names that Nick mentioned there, Ndidi, kind of the lifeblood almost of that Leicester team, and I think they have really missed him to start the new season. And also James Ward-Prowse. It's been really enjoyable to watch him kind of almost reinvent himself as a player over the last couple of seasons, and kind of shake some of the, well, we don't know what position he plays. He's not combative enough there in the central midfield. He's just kind of a one-trick pony. He's a well-rounded central midfielder now, and so just to give a little love, I think is definitely warranted for him.
Definitely. So, all right, we've got the midfield three sorted there: De Bruyne, Henderson, and Bruno Fernandes. Let's finish off with the forward three: Harry Kane, Sadio Mane, Mohamed Salah. Those are the first three that jump off my mind. But anything you guys want to add in there? Do you agree with that?
No, I agree. I think that's solid. I do. But I just want to throw a word out there altogether for Marcus Rashford. I think he was phenomenal. If you stopped at the end of Project Restart, I think he's in your team, just looking at the calendar year of 2020. And it hasn't been exactly what he's wanted to start this season, and yet he still has something like 5 goals and 5 assists. And when we take into account sentimentality, which we are all doing in this holiday season, his work with getting the free meals, he was also an outspoken voice during Black Lives Matter. And that was obviously just an absolutely major point in our season as well. So I do want to at least throw an honorable mention out there for Rashford.
Definitely. And I think one other player, Andy, Heung-min Son's had a really good start to this season. But Kane, Salah, and Mane, I think that's kind of a perfect combination there. 3 forwards who have done it consistently in 2020.
Yeah, I think we can pin them in. I don't even think we have to use pencil on those 3, but I'll give a couple of honorable mentions here along the attacking line. I think Jack Grealish, based on what he's done to start this season, has been absolutely fantastic. Finally reaching just that next level of stardom, really, to start this season. 5 goals, 6 assists, and also again on the basis of the start of this season, not so much maybe second half of last year, but Dominic Calvert-Lewin with 11 goals already certainly puts himself, I think, into consideration because he's been that good in just this half of the season. So while the top 3, I think, probably pick themselves, there's a little bit of competition, maybe say if we're putting together a 7-man bench, there's a lot more names to factor into that.
So there you go. There's our team of 2020, the best 11 players throughout the calendar year. And over at ProSoccerTalk and NBCSports.com, make sure to look out over the holiday season for the top goals of 2020 and the top saves as well. We'll have videos and analysis and all of that. So lots of ways to put a bow and wrap up the calendar year of 2020.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe. Make sure you subscribe to watch highlights all season long and always join us every weekend at 7 a.m. on NBCSN for Premier League mornings. Plus, make sure you subscribe to Peacock Premium as well, where you can watch exclusively live 175 games and same-day on-demand replays of all 380 Premier League matches as well.